The bright lights of the studio glisten in all their gleaming glory, casting the talk show set in a soft glow. The audience is a blend of eager anticipation and muffled excitement, waiting for the next celebrity to grace the stage. But tonight, there is a difference in the air, a weight that clings to the atmosphere like an invisible fog. The typical buzz of chatter falls into a deeper, more profound silence as Steve Harvey, the host known for his charisma and infectious energy, walks onto the stage. His usual smile, the one that lights up the entire room, is nowhere to be found. His face is a picture of something different, something rare for him. Steve stands at the edge of the stage, facing a sea of faces, and for a moment, the usual confidence he exudes falters. His posture straightens, but his eyes betray him. They are filled with something deeper than his usual playful charisma. The audience senses this change immediately, and the usual energy of the room shifts. Something important is about to happen, and no one knows exactly what it is. Steve speaks into the microphone, his voice a bit quieter than usual, almost as if he's trying to gather his thoughts, or perhaps gather himself. Tonight's show is going to be something different. What you're about to hear, what you're about to witness, it's going to change the way you think about resilience, about strength, and about the true measure of what it means to rise after the fall. The audience leans in, aware that they're not just here for another celebrity chat, they're here for something more. Steve continues, "I've had my own struggles, you all know that. But there's a man sitting here tonight, a man who has lived a life that most of us can only imagine. He's seen pain, he's fought wars, but more than that, he's risen. He's a man who doesn't just survive the battle, he shows others how to rise from it." With those words, the spotlight turns, and Ibrahim Traoré enters the stage. The audience erupts into applause, but there's a certain reverence in their claps, a respect that radiates beyond the typical admiration for a guest. Ibrahim's presence is understated but undeniable. Tall, composed, with a look of quiet strength about him, he walks toward Steve, his footsteps deliberate. His calmness seems to fill the room, a soothing balm in the midst of the show's usual frenzy. Steve gestures toward the seat beside him, and Ibrahim sits with an air of calm dignity. There is no rush, no urgency in his movements. He doesn't try to impress. His very stillness commands attention, a quiet presence that cuts through the noise. Steve begins the conversation, but it's clear from the outset that this interview will be unlike any other. The usual banter between host and guest doesn't take place here. Instead, what follows is a series of honest, raw exchanges. Ibrahim's voice is soft but carries weight, his words measured but piercing. He speaks of his home country, of the wars he's fought, not just with enemies, but with the deep, ever-present pain of loss. He speaks of the sacrifices made, the promises broken, and the overwhelming responsibility that comes with leadership. The audience listens intently, captivated by his every word. But Steve, who has always been the one to take control of the narrative, finds himself lost in Ibrahim's story. There's something in Ibrahim's voice that draws Steve in, something that shifts the dynamic of the interview from a simple question and answer session to something far deeper. Ibrahim speaks not just of the battles he's fought in the world, but of the inner battles, the ones that are far harder to conquer. Steve, usually the one who cracks jokes to ease any tension, finds himself oddly still. He has been through much in his life, poverty, failure, heartache, but Ibrahim's calm and steady presence stirs something in him. There's a vulnerability he hasn't allowed himself to feel in a long time. As the interview continues, Steve's questions become more personal, more probing. What's the one thing, Ibrahim, that you wish people knew about you? The thing you've never shared with anyone? Ibrahim's eyes meet Steve's, and for a moment, the audience feels the shift. There's something unspoken between them, a silent understanding. Ibrahim leans forward, his hands clasped together. "I've been to places, Steve. I've seen things most men would never come back from. But the worst part? The darkest part wasn't the fighting. It wasn't the bloodshed or the loss. It was the moment I realized that I had to let go of the anger inside me or it would destroy me." Steve's breath catches in his throat. He's heard many people speak of struggle, of pain. but never with the quiet intensity that Ibrahim carries in his voice. There's a deep sadness there, but also a profound wisdom. Steve finds himself speechless for the first time in the interview, but it's Ibrahim's next words that shatter the silence between them. "There was a moment, Steve, when I was so broken, so lost that I thought I could never return from it. I lost everything, my people, my honor, my hope. I thought I was too far gone. But then I realized something. The greatest failure isn't falling down, it's refusing to get back up." The audience sits in stunned silence. Steve's usual bravado has melted away. For the first time, he's not the one in control of the conversation. Ibrahim's words have left him raw, exposed. Steve wipes his eyes with the back of his hand, his voice breaking as he speaks. I can't keep it together," Steve admits, the weight of the words pressing down on him. "I needed to hear that, Ibrahim. I've spent so much of my life pretending that I'm fine. But you just reminded me that it's okay to fall. What matters is how we rise." Steve stands, his eyes brimming with tears as he walks over to Ibrahim. The audience, who has been watching the interview unfold in a quiet reverence, is now witnessing something far more profound than a typical emotional moment on a talk show. It's the raw, unfiltered vulnerability of a man who has faced his own struggles and who now sees something he has never fully understood until this moment. Ibrahim stands slowly, his calm presence steadying Steve as they share a brief moment of mutual understanding. There's no grand gesture, no dramatic speech, just two men connected by a shared humanity. "Ibrahim," Steve says, his voice steadying, "you've changed the way I see the world. You've changed the way I see myself. And I know you've touched the hearts of everyone here." The crowd erupts into applause, but the sound feels muted, as though the room is holding its breath, savoring the profound connection between the two men. Ibrahim offers a small smile, one that is both humble and knowing. "It's not about the fall, Steve, it's about how we rise." The lights dim slightly and the audience watches in awe as Steve Harvey, the man who has spent years making others laugh, stands before them, a man stripped of his defenses, a man who has just been shown a different way to live. As the show winds down, Steve's voice returns to its usual warmth. If this story touched your heart, consider subscribing for more inspiring tales of hope, healing, and unexpected kindness. Hit the like button and share this with someone who needs it today. The applause grows louder as the camera zooms out. The interview is over, but the impact of Ibrahim's words lingers long after the credits roll. Call to action. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe for more powerful, life-changing stories. Share it with someone who needs a little hope today.